everyone, can you hear me okay? Welcome to today's webinar. We're just going to wait another minute or so for more people to join. Thank you all for being here. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes. I can see the attendees are slowly growing. Just want to make sure everyone's here. But thank you for being here today, and we will get started very shortly. Okay, well, we can get started with the beginning part and hopefully more people will trickle in. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing okay and staying safe in this kind of scary time. Welcome to today's webinar. We are going to discuss how to connect with the millennial consumer. Now, this is kind of an elusive group, and hopefully this webinar will help you understand a little bit more about millennials. So let's get started. Our agenda for the day is going to be, first, we're going to discuss what do you think of when you think of millennial? Then we're going to go over some key millennial characteristics. Then we're going to discuss kind of the meat and potatoes of the presentation, which is how your business can connect and engage with millennials. We'll go over how Bird Eye can help you do that. And then, of course, we will end with a Q&A. So if you have any questions, please, you can chat them in the box or you can jot them down and I will answer them at the end. I will also be joined by one of my colleagues to help me with that Q&A. So stay tuned for that. Okay, now let's get into it. What do you think of when you think of a millennial? And I really want to know. I'm curious what the first thought that comes into your mind is, because I think it could be interesting for us all to see. So I'll start. When I think of a millennial, I think of someone who looks a little bit like this. They're very trendy, probably wearing thrifted clothes and, they're drinking an ethically sourced cup of coffee, what have you. This is the stereotype that I have in my mind when I think of a millennial. So I'm curious if any of you have, a first thought when you think of a millennial. So please feel free to type it in the chat box. Okay, someone said that they think millennials are entitled. I can understand that. That's a common stereotype with millennials, but hopefully this webinar will broaden your horizons a bit. Okay. Now, let's move on. Maybe you don't have too many preconceived notions of millennials, and what you know is based instead on some of these headlines. The baffling reason many millennials don't eat cereal. Or maybe you've heard, why aren't millennials buying diamonds? And you can see there's kind of a sassy response from someone below who says, I work at a grocery store. Or maybe you've seen this headline, millennials have killed the McDonald's McWrap, which honestly, I don't know how we got through 2016. Now, all jokes aside, millennials have gotten quite a bad rap from a decades-long crusade accusing them of killing various industries. And while these stereotypes are certainly funny, I mean, I think these headlines hopefully made a few of you chuckle, if you don't try to understand millennials for who they really are, then your business is missing out on a valuable opportunity. So, here are some millennial statistics to kind of set the record straight and show you why it's important to understand millennials and how it applies to your business. Millennials are projected to spend $1.4 trillion in 2020. 50.5% of millennials claim extreme loyalty to their brands. And in 2025, millennials are projected to make up over 40% of the world's workforce. So what's the takeaway from these statistics? Millennial wealth is growing, and if you don't start appealing to them now, it could hurt your business later. Millennials are not a demographic your business can afford to ignore. So hopefully through this webinar, we'll show you how you can engage with them more authentically. So now let's kind of figure out what are these key characteristics of millennials. Now, if you're confused or you're not really sure who's technically considered a millennial, you're not alone. I've heard a lot of conflicting information about who millennials are. So according to the Pew Research Center, millennials are born between 1981 and 1996. So this is the demographic we're going to be focusing on today. Now, what defines millennials? What are their defining characteristics? Millennials are passionate. They're moved and inspired by causes, and they genuinely want to change the world. Millennials are mobile. This is a stereotype that I think is absolutely true. They're connected through their smartphones and they're always on the move. So this is another defining characteristic of millennials. Millennials are accustomed to efficiency. Because many millennials grew up with the internet, they want their needs met quickly. Think about it like this. Do you know of any millennial who has had an experience where, they want to find the answer to something and they look it up in an encyclopedia? Probably not. Most millennials are used to being able to find whatever they want right on Google. It's an immediate answer to their questions. Because millennials grew up with this level of efficiency, they are accustomed to it and they want their needs met quickly. They can be impatient if reaching a customer service representative takes too long, or even if a web page takes longer than 5 seconds to load. So millennials are accustomed to efficiency. Millennials can also sniff out phonies. Now, this one is kind of funny. Millennials don't want to feel like businesses are trying too hard or delivering them an inauthentic message simply to seem millennial friendly. Millennials crave authenticity. So let me give you an example to kind of drive this point home a little more. Presidential hopeful Mike Bloomberg, a big part of his campaign was his advertising. So one of his advertising methods was to reach out to popular Instagram accounts and get them to create, memes or what have you that would appeal to millennials. However, these Instagram accounts thought, Mike Bloomberg isn't going to seem too relatable to millennials no matter what we do. So we think the best ad would be making fun of the fact that he's not relatable, and then maybe he'll seem relatable. But this was a big backfire. Most people could see right through it. Everyone knew it was an advertisement. And a lot of millennials just did not connect to this at all. It seemed like he was trying way too hard. Because instead of listening to millennials' concerns and maybe approaching it that way, he just went the easy route. What are millennials on? Instagram. How can I appeal to them? Go to the popular Instagram accounts and pay them to promote me. So it just really fell short. So let's get into it. How can your business engage with millennials? If millennials are passionate, then you want to understand their values and deliver them a cause that they can believe in. Now here's an example. 73% of millennials are willing to pay more for sustainable products. This is because environmentalism is really important to millennials, and they're willing to pay more in order to promote, environmentalism. Millennials are also willing to pay more to support local businesses. Again, local businesses are really important to millennials, so this is something that they're passionate about and willing to pay more for. But you don't need to be a small business or focus on environmentalism to capture a millennial's attention. So here's an example of another company that does this really well. Tom's. Tom's is a shoe company, and their whole motto is one for one, because with every pair of shoes you buy, one gets donated to a child in need. Now, these are, pretty fashionable shoes. However, a lot of people were saying that they weren't worth the price, or critics were saying that. However, Tom's became popular because everyone knew that with the increased price, they were doing something really great. They were donating a pair of shoes to a child in need. Now, Tom's has a great message, a great story, but any company can really figure out what their story is to connect with millennials. So take a second to think about it. What is your company's story? What makes you special? How can you appeal to millennials' passion? And if you can unlock this, then you're going to be able to connect with millennials in a whole new way. If millennials are mobile, then you're going to want to invest in a mobile-friendly online presence. Now, here's what I mean by that. First things first, you're going to want to optimize your website for mobile use. So you can kind of run this exercise right now. Look up your business's website on a mobile phone. Can you see the whole web page through your mobile browser really easily? Or do you have to, swipe, zoom in, zoom out, scroll all over the place? Is it easy to see all the information you need, or do you have to work hard to reformat it while you're looking at the page? Even if your content is readable, there might be other issues with the website design. Is your font the right size? Is the design loading correctly? Are the images displaying correctly? These are all things that might seem like small issues, but they're really not. If someone has trouble accessing the information on your website or seeing the design, there are two consequences. One, it's inconvenient for your customer to find the information they need. And two, it makes your company seem outdated, and especially with millennials, that's not the way you want to come across. Both of these will result in your customers seeking out a competitor. And of course, that's the last thing we all want right now, especially right now. So both in your content and design, you want to strategize with a mobile-first mentality. Now, if you're feeling a little concerned, like, well, I'm not an engineer, or I don't know how to just design a website from scratch, don't worry, you don't have to. There are companies like Wix and Squarespace that help you design your website, and it's so easy and user-friendly. And even better, you can preview what your website is going to look like on mobile. So if you don't love the way it looks on mobile, you can easily change it and fix it up through Wix and Squarespace. And there are many others. These are just a couple of examples. Once your website looks fantastic on mobile, you can see all the content, your design is loading correctly, and that's squared away, then you're going to want to rethink your content, because plain text does not grab a millennial's attention as much as a great image with minimal text would. And this is important. Millennials respond to images and sleek design before they respond to, a lot of text. My guess would be when millennials see a huge block of text, they're going to be more reminded of their college textbooks than they are going to be thinking of, a business that they're going to want to engage with. So you can make your content more mobile friendly as well. This is part of why Instagram is so successful, because Instagram leads with images first and text is secondary. So these are all of the elements you're going to want to think about when you're thinking about how to reach millennials on mobile. Invest in a mobile-friendly online presence by optimizing your website and rethinking your content so that it's very easy to engage with it. If millennials are accustomed to efficiency, then it's important that you deliver convenient and efficient customer experiences. If your business is only reachable over the phone, that's not going to be very efficient for the customer. Not everyone can drop everything they're doing to get on a call. And even though more of us are home than ever before, we're still really busy. And not everyone wants to drop everything they're doing to get on a phone call. More people are wanting to find businesses through a simple Google search, learn about them, and find a way to contact them. That's all online. This is why it's important to be reachable on multiple platforms. The first way I'm going to discuss is social media. So I mentioned a little bit about how Instagram utilizes images, and that's part of why it's so appealing to millennials, but your business can really take advantage of this. You can create a business Instagram, and it's very easy, very user-friendly. It is image-based, and there's not too much text. So you don't have to go through the work of writing a lot of copy or anything like that. You can just post relevant images of your business or your product to appeal to millennials. And then in your Instagram bio, you can include a link to your website. So it'll be really easy for customers to, maybe see your Instagram, get intrigued, and then click on that bio to find out more. Also, Instagram is the preferred social media platform among millennials, and it's for that reason. It's sleek design and really easily accessible. However, Facebook still has 2.4 billion active users. So chances are a lot of millennials are both on Instagram and Facebook, and Instagram is owned by Facebook as well. So a lot of people are on both platforms. On Facebook, you can set up a business page, and this is a way to create a little more detail. You can have your business address, your hours of operation, all that good stuff. And then Facebook Messenger is connected to Facebook, and it's an app that is widely used by the younger crowd. It's a really sleek design, really easy to download on your phone, and a lot of millennials communicate through Facebook Messenger. So because of this, you're going to want to make sure you have a presence on social media, including Instagram and Facebook. But it's also important to consider being present on business texting. So you might think texting is kind of taking a step back in terms of technology, but that's actually not true. Since millennials are always on their phone, you're going to want to reach the mobile millennial through their phone, and texting is a great way to do that. 98% of text messages are read. This means, text messaging has a fantastic open rate, whereas email, it's lower. It's about 16, 17%. And I know I speak for myself when I say I have at least 100 unread emails in my inbox. So maybe if you're only trying to reach your customers through email, you're not really getting the response that you need. Email is oversaturated, it has a low open rate, and it's really easy for information to get lost. But business texting reaches your customers directly. 89% of consumers also prefer to interact with businesses over text rather than a phone call. Now, I know this is a stereotype among millennials, but I think it's actually true. Most millennials don't have phone conversations with their friends or their family. They're just so used to texting now. It's almost as if you get a phone call, something must be really wrong. And because text-based communications is the preferred method, you want to make sure your business is available through texting. Because 1 in 3 consumers have tried to text a business and never gotten a response back. So what this means is customers and consumers could already be trying to send you text messages thinking that your business landline number is a textable number, and they're not getting responses. So they could just think that their messages are going out and the business is ignoring them. But that's, could not be the case. So because of this, you're going to want to try and use business texting to reach millennials and reach all of these people who might already be trying to contact you. If you're reachable on multiple platforms, this makes the customer experience much more convenient because a millennial can contact you on whatever method they prefer. Maybe they're old school and they like phone calls, but chances are they're probably going to prefer social media or business texting. And if you don't offer millennials a smooth and convenient customer experience, they're going to find someone else who is. So it's important to think about how you can do that, how you can boost engagement and be more reachable on different platforms. If millennials can sniff out phonies, then it's important to engage with millennials authentically. First things first, start by speaking in a conversational tone. Millennials are less formal across the board, so if you speak to them too formally, they'll feel like you're trying to sell them something. Now, I'm aware this is kind of an ironic statement because, of course, we're all trying to sell millennials something. However, Just like millennials don't like being advertised to, they don't like it when you're obviously trying to sell them something. So by speaking in a conversational tone, it helps them feel relaxed and listened to. Now, another way you can more easily engage with millennials is through digestible content. Now, what this means is when you're sending emails, newsletters, or other promotional content, you're going to want to do whatever you can to make it consumable. So you could add bullet points so it's easier to follow, or you could try something like a listicle. Now, BuzzFeed really honed what the listicle is, and that's an article that's comprised entirely of lists. So if you see the example on the slide, it says 16 things you'll only understand if you love dogs. That's a silly example, but it works. It says how many things will be in that article so a reader knows exactly how long they're going to be reading it. Maybe one of the points isn't too interesting to them, they can keep scrolling and read to the end. So by creating listicles, it just keeps readers engaged and helps them know how long they're going to be reading. Whereas if it's just a lot of text and they're not sure how long it's going to be, they might just exit out and not engage with your content entirely. So think about adding bullet points, listicles, but most important, keep it short and sweet. Let images and visual examples do the talking wherever you can. So if you see this middle example between BuzzFeed and the listicle, it says 2016 Product Design Report. Now, I found this really interesting. So this is a company newsletter, and their entire newsletter was comprised of these images. And if you were interested, you could click and read all about it and get more detailed information. But the detailed information wasn't the first thing you saw. The first thing you saw was this great design, and you could just scroll and look at all of these images and decide which part of the newsletter you wanted to read. So wherever you can, letting images and visual examples do the talking is a great strategy. Overall, you're going to want to learn how to speak in a conversational tone and create more easily digestible content so you can engage with millennials more authentically. So now let's see how Birdeye can help you do that. Making all of these changes at once can definitely seem overwhelming and maybe even impossible, but don't worry, we're here to help. We have many tools that can help you engage with millennials in the way that I've outlined in this webinar. So let's take a closer look. Birdeye can help you use customer feedback to share your story. So I was talking about how it's really important to use millennials' passion and figure out what your company's story is to appeal to millennials in that way. And maybe that seemed a little intimidating. Maybe you're not sure what your company's story is. But if you're unsure of what your company's story is, chances are your customers are already telling it. Birdeye makes it easy for you to collect and share customer feedback to get a sense of what this story is. Now, you probably know that reviews are really important for any business, but maybe you've struggled to get review responses in the past. To help you get the responses that your business needs, there are 3 important elements to consider. The review request needs to be timely. So you want the review request to be sent out right after the customer interaction. Let's say you're a medical practice. You'd want the patient to get the review right after the appointment. Or maybe you're an auto body shop. You'd want the customer to get the review request right as they're driving off the lot. The sooner the customer gets the review request, the more likely they are to answer. And Birdeye helps with that because we help you set up automatic review requests so that you don't even need to get a second thought. You know when a customer has completed their transaction, they'll get a review request right then, right there. Now, the second thing to consider is review requests need to be clear. You don't want to write too much text or, bog customers down with a long thing to read. You want it to be short, sweet, to the point. With Birdeye's review requests, we have this already set up. However, you can also customize it to whatever way you wish. And then lastly, review requests need to be convenient. Birdeye sends review requests with a survey link right there, so all customers need to do is click. But Birdeye can also send these reviews through email, SMS text, so that you can reach customers in the method that they prefer. So these are the 3 elements that are really important when you're sending review requests, and Birdeye helps you achieve all of them so easily. Once you start getting more reviews, you can manage them all in one dashboard, and that's in the Birdeye dashboard, where you can see new reviews and respond to them all in one place. So Birdeye helps you get more reviews, manage them in one place, and then you can share your favorite customer reviews right to your website, so that any website visitor will know what your company story is right away. It's important to give the busy millennial a smooth and efficient customer experience. And the best way you can do that is by being reachable on multiple platforms. And Bird Eye helps you do this. Now, the first way is through your website. When someone visits your website, you want there to be a really easy way where they can get in contact with you. And you can do that through live chat. Live chat is when your business has a live representative available to chat online and deliver answers to your customers in real time. This way, you can turn website visitors into customers. But chances are, a lot of your website visitors will have similar questions, and it would be a drain on your staff to just answer the same question over and over. That's why we have a chatbot. This chatbot is available to answer frequently asked questions so that your staff can tackle the more elaborate questions. So questions like, what is your address? What are your hours? Things like that are perfect questions for our chatbot Robin to answer while your staff is dealing with the bigger concerns. So that's the first way you want to be reachable is through your website, and you can utilize live chat and chatbot. The second way that's important to be reachable is through business texting. Now, in a previous slide, I talked all about the benefits of business texting, and Bird Eye can help you set up your current business landline number and make it textable. That might be confusing, right? Because how can you text through a landline? Well, Bird Eye makes it easy. We help you get it set up, and then you can send SMS text messages through your business phone number all through the Bird Eye dashboard. And then the third way we help you be more reachable is, like I mentioned before, social media. If you're getting messages through Facebook Messenger, they can all get stored in your Bird Eye inbox. And I'll get more into what that is in just a second. Now, all of these features, that's kind of a lot to keep track of. You have your website, you have texting and Facebook Messenger. You know, it can be overwhelming to keep track of all of these customer communications at once. I say, it's kind of like this quote from the movie, He's Just Not That Into You. I miss the days when you had one phone number and one answering machine, and that one answering machine had one cassette tape, and that one cassette tape either had a message or it didn't. And now you just have to go around checking all of these different portals just to get rejected by 7 different technologies? It's exhausting. And of course, this is a silly example, but customer communications and dating, there's a parallel there. It is difficult to go and check all of these portals to see if your customers have sent you a message. It can be really overwhelming and messages can slip through the cracks. Well, through the Bird Eye inbox, this is the answer to all of your customer communication woes, because all of those messages are stored in one spot to help you stay organized and answer customer messages in a flash. So your live chat messages, your business texting, and your Facebook messages will all be in one spot, so you no longer have to check all of these different portals. Now, it's important to see if you're being a phony or not. So see if you're hitting the mark through Bird Eye's Pick One surveys. When you're trying out these new initiatives to connect with millennials, you really don't want to seem inauthentic or out of touch, and you wouldn't want to continue with something if it's not working. A great way to see if you're hitting the mark or how well you're doing is these Pick One surveys. These surveys are designed with the understanding of millennials' short attention span. And they also utilize sleek design. These surveys let you pick an option of this or that. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're running an upscale cafe and you want to change up the menu, but you're not sure what food would be most popular. Through a Pick One survey, you could ask customers, would you rather eat pastries or sandwiches? If someone answered sandwiches, they would then be directed to a question that says, do you like cold cuts or paninis? Or if someone answered pastries, the next question could be, do you prefer croissants or muffins? Now, this may seem a silly example, but the possibilities are really endless with this Pick One survey. Are you redesigning your business, but you're not sure what customers would like best? Send out a Pick One survey. Are you a property management company, and maybe you want to see which properties are the most popular to help inform your next investment? You could send a Pick One survey. Or maybe you're switching up your company's image and you're picking a new logo. You could see which one your customers like best through a Pick One survey. Really, the opportunities are endless here. Bird Eye's Pick One surveys can help your business get valuable feedback from customers in an engaging way, Because it's only one question at a time, it's not like those classic surveys with a lot of text that's just overwhelming. Instead, it's one question at a time with a sleek design, so it makes millennials feel like more engaged and like they can engage with it better. Also, it's important to send out surveys because it lets your customers know that you care about their opinion. And it lets your business know if you're connecting with millennials in an authentic way. Okay, so that was a lot of information, so I'm going to do a quick recap. What I want you to leave this webinar with today is understanding these characteristics of millennials and what it means for your business. Millennials are passionate, so give them a great story they can believe in. Figure out your business's story and how you can appeal to millennials through that. Millennials are mobile, so you want to optimize your website for mobile use. Make sure your website looks good on a smartphone or you could be losing out on customers. Millennials are accustomed to efficiency, so you want to deliver them an efficient customer experience. And this means being reachable on multiple platforms and communicating with them in the method that they prefer. And lastly, millennials can sniff out phonies, so you want to relate to them authentically. BirdEye can help you with every single step of this process. And that's it. Thank you so much for coming to this webinar. If you have any questions, please stick around for this Q&A. If you are interested in BirdEye, if you think we might be a right match for you, please contact us at sales@birdeye.com. I really appreciate you all for being here today. And yeah, stick around if you have any questions. A recording of this webinar will be sent out shortly. So I will hang around and see if I get any questions. Okay. No questions. Either you guys are all asleep or I did an awesome job. I'm just kidding. All right, well, I'll wait for a couple minutes, but thank you so much. I really appreciate you all taking time out of your morning. I hope you left with some valuable tools to know how to more authentically engage with millennials. Okay, let's see. Okay, saw someone raise their hand, but I didn't get a question. Let's see. Okay. Well, if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact me after this webinar. My name is Barbara Jackson. Thank you so much for joining me today, and let us know if BirdEye is right for you. I hope you are all staying safe and healthy, and take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.